Welcome back, my friends, and you are my friends, to your full-time show, live match reaction. It's another 0-0, dreary 0-0. Went to Specsavers on Wednesday, and I've got a lot of short-sightedness. I've got astigmatism on my eyes. Watching this shower shit, is it a surprise? Literally, my eyes are bleeding every time I watch the team play. 0-0. Breathe. We are with friends back in the pub, the virtual pub. Let's all have a pint. I've got some water on the go. I need something stronger. I'll have that very soon. A huge thank you to all those that do support us on Ko-Fi. You keep us here, which right now doesn't seem appealing, but it is. It is. I love being with you all. As somebody just asked, I think it was Matt Stannard, what's my go-to biscuit? Ooh, probably a hobnob. It's like the SAS of dunking. You know, you dunk it as many times as you want, and it just keeps its strength. Is a Twix a biscuit in your world, or is that a chocolate bar? That's a debate to be had, I think. Because for me, if it's a biscuit, I love that. Anyway, welcome back, Curtis. Welcome back, Jordan. So let's get the game out of the way. Stephen Parrott, I love my pod mate. We love you too, Steve. Roy Clark, Edward's the new set piece maestro. You know, I've seen better set pieces when I was in year 5 school team. These clowns wouldn't be in the position there and singing living supporters were in the stadium, says Leighton Durrant. This season's been a joke. Mick Mills just swear and say how we are. Michael Finch, never looked like scoring of them. Dobra looked bright, but too weak in front of goal. Well, yeah. I mean, Jordan, did Paul Cook... I'm not blaming Paul Cook. This is not a Paul Cook slagging match. But does it scream, I want to score a goal when Carl Skuse trots onto the pitch? We have Aaron Trinner, but Carl Skuse has got more. You know, come on. Wasn't a great move. What did you make of it?
Just to stick out there, Gwion Edwards single-handedly took 2 of the worst set pieces I've ever seen on a fucking football pitch. I mean, the first one was hideous, and then to even let him take the second one, I mean, fucking hell, that would have hit someone in row Z at the upper tier, the North. That was hideous. You knew we weren't going to score, didn't you? Dobra was huffing and puffing. He was probably our best outfield player. Kane Vincent Young's mustard at times, but he's slowly coming back. Di Cornell actually surprised me a little bit today. Shot stopping all right, but when it comes to coming out for balls and stuff like that, he's like a headless chicken, isn't he? I just felt like we were never going to score. I don't think Wimbledon were really that bothered by us. I think they've gone off the pitch, the ones who thought they could win the game.
Yeah, they're the more happy of the teams, trying to fight that relegation. Hull are promoted, so Hull have gone straight back to the Championship. Swindon and Bristol Rovers have been relegated from our league. A few comments before I get your thoughts there, Kurt. Vince Burrs, Skuse watched the first half and thought he could add some pace to our game. So, okay. The Anderson, second one hit Kelly's cardboard cutout. Yes, find Kelly's cutout. Easy. Dobra should use his foot for an easy tap in. Jackson should look to quick chip the keeper at the tight. Did he come on, Jackson? I must have blinked and missed that. Genuinely, I must have blinked and missed that. Cornell was surprisingly decent, but he needs to come out for those corners. I would keep Cornell next year as a number 2. Holy can go. New keeper incoming. I thought today, Cornell, yes, he looked like a flapper for those balls into the box, Kurt. But overall, it's that old saying, you know, good shot stopper, which people will say is what he's supposed to do. But we've seen keepers over the past throughout this season get it wrong. So he looked all right today, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he did his job. Well, he did part of his job today, and he looked fairly reassuring at the back. Apart from for a few balls where, to be honest, I actually thought McGuinness dug him out a bit. There was one at the end where McGuinness just took the ball, chested it down with no one around him, then waited for Cornell to come grab it off him when he didn't really need Cornell to grab it. So I thought McGuinness dug him out a bit on that, but. Overall, I actually felt quite reassured with him in net today. I don't think he really had anything too spectacular to do. But no, I'm fully with you on that. I think I'd be keeping Cornell, get rid of Hawley, because I mean it's all right possibly having one subpar keeper to back up your first choice, but having 2 subpar keepers to fight out for your first choice is just not. It's not the way this football club needs to go. But no, it was a drab 0-0 game. There was nothing in it. I mean, we can all moan about the substitutions that we made, but if we actually got on the bench to change a game,
We haven't.
Yeah, it don't matter who you put on that pitch from that bench. It was just a boring, drab 0-0.
But again, Jordan, there's people in that squad that you could have on the bench to come on. Liam Gibbs is one. Thrown in at the deep end in a league game, not been seen since. If you keep saying there's 51 players, but yet we keep seeing the same 14. This is, they're not the future, but where's Emir Hughes disappeared to? I'm sure he's still got a contract. Where's Luke Matheson disappeared to? Where's Troy Parrott disappeared to? Who I thought was fairly decent in the few performances. Like, for a big squad, we do keep seeing the same 13 trotted out week in, week out, don't we?
I believe Matheson's gone back to Wolves because of injury, to be treated for injury.
Where have you heard that?
I heard that through a friend who works at the club. He's back there at the moment receiving stuff for his injury and stuff like that. As for Parrott, I ain't got a clue. I think it's more pushing towards the youngsters for me, Martin. I mean, that was a good thing about McCarthy. I always found like Shane McLaughlin, who come on today. I remember him coming on under Clue, maybe. He come on at Middlesbrough at home, won us the penalty. If I remember right, it would just be nice to see maybe one or two. I can't remember his name, but he plays the under 18s. He's a winger, very sharp sort of lad. I think he might have played in the paint trophy this season. It'd be good to see him. It would have just been nice to see, like you said earlier, Di Cornell played in goal today. It'd just be nice to be intrigued in a couple of players rather than watching, I don't know, Teddy Bishop lose the ball 4 times out of 5 and then make a sideways pass. Yeah. And I just want to see something different now. None of these, there's no way any of them players who Cook might thinking out the door will change his mind now. No way. No. Not in a month or something.
It's done. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Half of this, and it surprises me a little bit. I mean, I can't believe that they've gone out there and not really played for themselves, if not the club. Well,
and that's that $1 million question in the chat and amongst fans and on the show. Eric, why on earth are these players not playing for a contract elsewhere? They're doing their own career zero favours. Mr. Bismarck, Troy Parrott's gone to the Super League with Spurs. Easy. Edwards is the worst corner taker I've ever seen, and that goes a long way because this club's had a fair few. Larson Torres probably somewhere laughing. Leighton Durrant, Dobra's best game, not hard, I know. Colin Plum, talking at the Crucible Theatre. EJ Norris, they're not playing for a new contract because they're not good enough to get one. Ryan, lads, stop being negative. That's a good result for a mid-table battle. Absolutely, Ryan. Absolutely. Chris Boyd, what the hell is Cook doing training all week without his number 2? Cook seems useless. Yeah. Rabbit 39. Just worried Cook ups the task without sidekick. Richardson. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with Jordan there, Kurt. When you've got Cole Skew strolling on through the bitchery 30 minutes, you know what Cole Skew's going to give you. Sideways passes.
Yeah, it's nothing spectacular, is it? I mean, I had this worry, the fact that Cook's coming in without his usual assistant, and then we're now going through the issue of who's his assistant going to be. I'm seeing all names mentioned. I'm seeing John McGrail. I'm seeing Kieran Dyer. I'm seeing Noel Hunt. I even saw someone report that Noel Hunt was at the Northampton game the other day. Why is he at the game? I'm not aware that he's got any connection to either club, unless there's some scouting in his off time. I'm not sure, but I'm not going to put the blame down to Cook because I'm not being funny. We've all seen this team now over the season, even in Lambert's time. I've seen some people say, "Well, Lambert got the best out of the team." I hate to break it, but if Lambert was getting the best out of that team, and we all still wanted him gone, I mean, what does it say when they've completely down tools for, in my opinion, a better caliber of a manager? To me, I'm not gonna blame Cook, and it's horrendous watching him at the moment. I think it's not great. I mean, I was very critical of Cook at the beginning because I said that he needed to change up his one-up front formation, and then he did. He tried every single formation under the sun now, and clearly there's not one formation that any of these players can do. It's getting a bit repetitive each week. I feel like Cook. I feel like coming out when he comes out for his post match and says like, "What more do you want me to say?" Like we all. It doesn't matter who's on the show every week. I mean, it can be me and Jordan. It can be Callie. It can be Graham. It can be anyone. we all still say the same thing. We're horrendous up front. We have a midfielder. We have a midfield we have all midfielders that are all the same type of player. I wouldn't say any of them are particularly creative. And Alan Judge, who has probably had his best time in the Town shirt, I wouldn't have kept him next season anyway. But for what he's done this season, it's a shame that he can't play the last 6 games. But no, we're just absolutely dreadful. Absolutely dreadful.
Would you rip up Edwards' contract, Jordan? Would you say, right, I've seen enough, that's it? Because Ashley Bell, dreadful. One good spell, but absolutely toothless in the box. Think Cornell looked okay. Happily keeping number 2 next year. Edwards shouldn't be allowed near a dead ball ever again. Would you allow him near the football pitch ever again in a blue shirt?
I think time is there's time to call it time with a few of them. You know, now is it mathematically impossible? Must be now.
Well,
we've got 3 games, 9 points. So technically, no, it's not. Technically,
yeah, you may as well call it there. I think then it's come to that point where you won't be really doing anything now. I think it's time to just say, well, thanks, but no thanks. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, would you disagree with that, Kurt?
No. It's one of them. I mean, I like Jordan said earlier in the show, I find it hard to believe that some of these players have already been told the futures already. I really do find it hard to believe that it's got this late in the season they've not been told. But what's the point in persisting with these players who know they're on the way out? Just chuck a few in. I mean, we had you had Burke on the show the other day, and even he said himself, he said he's not really judging Cook with this team because he said it's not his team. So what's Cook got to lose with playing a few of the youngsters who maybe showing a bit of promise in the younger ages? I mean, and I understood what Cook was saying the other day, how a lot of these youngsters in the past few seasons have been forced up because, like he said it, our team isn't good, so we've had to force these youngsters up. Maybe because when they're not even ready to play, and unfortunately, maybe that's been our issue the last couple of seasons because we've not been great in terms of recruitment. But now whilst it's mathematically possible, we're not going to do it. It doesn't matter. So you may as well shove a few people in, try and fill numbers for your pre-season games, and just see who stands out, because unfortunately the ones in the lower ages are the ones that you're going to be building your core around. So you may as well.
Absolutely. Let's get Stephen. Jimmy, welcome in. Jim, how you doing?
I'm all right. I don't buy all that, to be honest. You know, we all know the situation. Kieran Dyer says the under-23s is too bloated. We all know that's going to get a cull as well.
Well, let's see a few.
Huh?
Let's see a few.
Going? Why if they're going? What's the point?
Well, not everyone will be going. There's some that are on the contract for an additional year or two.
Even Kieran Dyer turned around not so long back and said he wants at least 10 left because he wants to bring some of the under-18s through. You can't keep keeping people till they're 23, 24 in the under-23s when you've got 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds. Sooner or later, you've got to say, you ain't going to make it. Bye-bye. Yeah. You know, let's start getting in the real world. It's time to start using this and not this. If they ain't going to cut it, fine. Yeah? I'm fed up of it. You know, at the end of the day, I sat through that game today, paid me tenner, and I'll tell you what, the amount of times I've been saying this, I ain't going to pay. All I'm paying for at the moment is because we've got new owners and Paul Cook. I ain't paying for nothing else. Yeah? And I'm saying the likes of Dazelle let me down. Wolfie let me down. I'm saying all these young players and people who I've been defending letting me down. And I'm sorry, I've had a blood enough. Yeah? For me, get rid of the lot of them. Yeah? And I'm saying, like, well, if they ain't good enough, who's to say the under-23? Who's to say Tyrese Simpson is going to be good enough? What's the bloody point? If they don't think he's good enough, let's not bother putting him in the first team. We've got 3 games left. Let's just stay as we are and get shut of the lot of them and start again.
Go on, George.
I don't think we're saying that they're going to come in and set the world alight, Stephen. I think it's just more the intrigueness. It's something different for the rest of the season. You know what I mean? It is for the rest of this season, really. Nothing's going to happen now, is it? Nothing's going to happen. So what's the point in watching the same dross? Why not bring someone else in who you could watch? But you can't judge them until you've seen them, can you?
Have you seen those fans? We can't. No.
But what I'm saying is this, like you said earlier, most of these decisions have probably already been made. If these decisions have been made on the under-23s, what's the point? Let's stick to.
I think the point, Stephen, is you're trying to now win fans. You're trying to keep fans on board and keep the momentum going. And quite frankly, I get the point you're trying to make, but then you could say the same for the first team, because there's 7 players in that first team today that you're not going to be there next year. Don't pick them. Start with 7 players. Like, you've got these guys are earning money. They're on a contract until May. Well, in that case, I want to see Levi Ando, who came in as a development player. Let's see what he's got. I know what Wolfenton's got. I know what McGuinness has got. Let's see Levi Ando. Look, I don't care if they're ever going to be the next Nesta, Maldini, fucking Mick Mills. Just give me something. I've had chicken and boiled potatoes for the last 6 months, and now what a bit of variety and a bit of flavour. Son, I've not had that one before. Let's see what that's going to be like. I know what Drinningham brings to the party as much as I can sat in this chair.
I get that, and we all get that, and we all want to see youth players progress, but if they're not good enough, and we're going to get our asses tanned. You know, at the end of the
just through 0-0 Wimbledon.
Maybe so, but what if we'd have played the youngsters and we'd have lost 4-0?
I think 3-0 last week. The first team, it don't really matter.
I tell you what, the fans at the end of the day, we're not going to sit there and say Paul Cook was a genius. He put in the youngsters and we got trumped 4-0. We'd have been saying you're a knobhead. You should have played your better players. That's what fans do. Fans aren't rational. Fans are irrational. When you play young players and get drugged, fans turn around to managers and say, "Why are you playing the young players? You should have played the other players. We might have drugged them." No.
I mean, I don't think we're asking for a full team of fucking under 8s. I don't think we're asking for the under 23 squad that Kieran Dyer manages to play ahead of the whole first team. I don't think it's unreasonable to ask for a light dashing of like your Leviandos, like your Liam Gibbs, even your Ross Crane, who came in from Bury Town. I don't think. And what I mean, I'm not saying shove him in. I'm not saying shove him in to the first team squad, the first 11 starting the game. What I'm saying is we go every Saturday at 2 and every Tuesday at 6. We always end up coming and looking at our team sheet, and then we see players like Freddie fucking Sears is taking up a space on the bench again, and then we see a player like Mark McGuinness. I mean, I saw someone say he's got an appearance thing in his contract, which I think they're just embarrassing. I think if any club ever puts you to that, then you should never take them on loan anyway. But I think you see players like your Mark McGuinness who's playing ahead of Toto, who has probably had his best season. It's not been an amazing season, but he has had his best season in a town kit. And I just think it's not too much to ask to have your Liam Gibbs, Ross Crane, just coming off the bench to give us something different. Because we see Dobra. I mean, by all accounts, I've heard Lancaster's off, which in my opinion is a shame. But again, it'll give him a chance to kickstart his career somewhere else if that does happen.
I'm not denying any of that, Curtis. And I haven't got a problem with playing some of the younger players. But the top and bottom of it is, if the decision's been made, there's not a lot of point. You know, all I'm saying is if that's the case, we've hired the wrong manager. Yeah, because Paul Cook is a very Mick McCarthy manager. He doesn't play youth players that often. If everyone's expecting Paul Cook to start playing the youth players, go and ask Wigan fans. He doesn't. Yeah, he has his trusted players. He plays week in, week out.
He's already said he can't trust these players.
That's why we're having a call. But what I'm saying is, he won't trust the youth players anymore. Even at Wigan, he had one of the best youth players going. He was the first person out the door. He hardly played. So if we're expecting a manager like that to suddenly start trusting his career in youth, I think we're in for a big shock.
Stephen, thank you. Mark, Curtis, carry on.
I don't think he'd have to be trusting them. Like I said then, Burke said he's not judging Cook off this season. So test these players out. See what they've got to offer, because they really
have a look, don't we? Just want to have a look. That's all we want. I'm not saying play them or start a load of them. Just one or two will do.
Mark, what did you think hearing Stephen's points there? Really well put, by the way, Stephen. Thank you.
Yeah, what I would do, it was crap again today, wasn't it? But what I would do, anybody, I mean, let's face it, we're playing, is it Swindon next week? All right, I think they're after getting relegated, I think. Are they?
Just being relegated, yeah.
So I think next week we should play anyone who's left who's going to be here next year, right? Just play them, and then if there's slots needed to fit in, that's when we bring in the young lads, the under 23s, and just put people who are going to be in next week, next season, regardless whether they work out permanently, it's immaterial. So it's basically, I'm trying to say, if we signed nobody, say, we're left with, 15 players. So let's play them for the remainder of the season. I don't understand why we're going to play everyone else, unless, as he alluded to, the likes of Mark McGuinness been with Arsenal having to play so many games, and the lad from Germany as well, Bennett's, and I don't know, best of luck with him. I don't know where he'll end up.
Yeah, well, let's face it. If these contract clauses such as Mark McGuinness isn't met, it'll be a financial penalty. And I'm not saying we should be doing anything willy-nilly, but we're not.
We can pay the penalty now.
Well, exactly.
Financially, we can pay it, yeah.
But taking that on board, I'll give you the 14 players that have got another year on their deal or more that will still be here, and then you can try and fill a team around that. You've got Holy and Cornell, well, that's fairly sorted. Vincent Young, Wolfenden, and Darber and Kenlock. So you'd need one centre half coming in. I keep saying it for no other reason than the fact that he's been here nearly 2 years now. I want to see Levi Ando. I want to see what Ando's got.
We can play those people at the back next week.
Absolutely. Midfield, you got Dazelle and Downs. Well, them two play already. Nolan's injured. McGavin can't play. Then you've got Dobra and Lancaster, who I believe is injured at the moment. But if he's injured, you've got to find another two players there. Again, you've got
Dobra done a bit lively today when he came on, didn't he? I thought he looked lively.
Yeah.
He looked as if he wanted to do something. Just the rest of them didn't.
He really
and Cole Stews came on and ran the midfield and squared off the balls, and he was just genius as usual.
Oh, absolutely, Mark. But so you have to find another two midfield players there, Jordan. I'll throw a few names. You've got Ross Crane, the Crane Train. Why not give him 45 minutes or a half hour? You've got Liam Gibbs.
What's happened to McGavin? He
was out on loan and came back, didn't he? So you can only play for 2. So I think he can't be registered in time for more appearances this year, I believe.
It'd be interesting to see. Like I said, I'm not asking for a lot. Maybe like what Clue did against Middlesbrough that last I keep referring back to it.
Yes, absolutely.
You maybe stick one in and then a couple on the bench or something along them lines. As for that Levi Ando, obviously he came on loan to Lowestoft for a little while. I'm obviously talking a different kettle of fish when it comes to like football and stuff like that, the quality of football. They really rated him. I didn't watch him personally, but they said he was hungry as anything, won every ball in the air. Why not chuck him in now? What have we got to lose? Honestly, like Steve said earlier, well, you'd have been going mad if we lost 4-0. But it would have made no difference anyway, really, would it? Let's be honest.
At this point, I wouldn't be going mad. I went mad last week when we were still starting to play for.
If we go to Swindon next week, honestly, if we go to Swindon next week and say fielded 5 under-23s who we'd never seen before, and we lost 2-1 or 2-0, would you honestly be fuming about it? Because to me, it's another game now. There's no point in getting het up over it. We see this season out and we go again in the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. But you keep your form up.
I was like, what's wrong with the strikers or the attackers? I just don't get it. As a kid, you want to get the ball, you want to go forward, just want to pass it to somebody, even not pass it, just be really greedy and just be shot. But it's shocking.
It's the quality, isn't it? And it's the confidence. Maybe they've.
Well, I say it's quality, but the whole League One has been found. I think we're so used to watching League One now. I tell you, the standard is just brutal in League One, and I think we're after falling into that. It's absolutely shocking everywhere. I mean, like Wimbledon were no good. I mean, which one of those Wimbledon players seriously would you have on our team today? None of them. They're all crap. There's very few players who have really stood out in League One as, fantastic players and a lot better than our own, which is probably an indication how crap it is.
It's not a brilliant league at all. And I think something that we don't rate particularly highly enough or don't consider enough is, and I'll ask you this, Curtis, this is Paul Lambert's football team. And Paul Lambert would come out week in, week out and really sort of kiss the players and say how great they were. He had a heartbeat on this team because he built it. Are we seeing that these players can't handle a bit of pressure, can't handle honesty, can't handle real talk of, I don't trust you, I don't like you, I don't think you're good enough? And what we're seeing now, because to go from scoring a goal, 2 goals, to no goals in over 10 hours, that's confidence for me. That's players that are just scared. They're now just like Edwards' free kick. He's overthinking that. He's overthinking where he needs to put that ball. And in the end, he fucking skies it because he overthinks it.
I mean, it doesn't take Paul Cook to come in to see that these players have some kind of fragile mentality, because I mean, like I said a few weeks ago, Hurst came in, tried to do this whole double session fitness work, blah 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 blah, and then they soon started kicking off with Hurst. So and then you heard about all these rumours of dressing room unrest, all kicking off with his assistant, and Chambers going to Evans directly. These players, they have a fragile mentality at this club. They can't handle pressure. They've not been able to handle pressure for absolutely ages. I mean, how many times do you look on TWTD and you see match reports and it says players walked off with boos at half time, and they walked off with boos at full time. These players don't like. And Cook alluded to it. One of my comments this morning, which really grated on me, was the fact that Cook said the dressing room was the same after a win as it was after a loss. I'm sorry, but it's how can that be? Sunday League, even when I was playing in Salford, when we won, you went into the dressing room, absolutely had a massive laugh, and then and then you come in after a loss, you pissed off. But yet you're telling me two completely different results. You're getting the same players coming in with the same reaction. It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. This lot of players, I don't know what it is, because if they've got an ego, I don't know where that's come from, because I don't know who's bigged them up to have such an ego. And
they're players. They have egos themselves. You've been told since the age of 10, though, haven't you? Really, that you're good. You're good. You're great. You're this. You're that. The other. I don't know. Management of players is very tricky, and it's just, Jordan, have you ever experienced this sort of goal drought before, where it's been 10 hours?
Well, remember on the McCarthy when we went a little while, and then Chambers scored against Burton, didn't he, at the back post of a header? I can't remember how long it was, but this is an absolute shit show now, isn't it? I mean, I think it's got a bit beyond the point of professional footballers, if I'm honest with you, doing their job. I think we're now in the stage where none of them really seem to care. None of them seem to be bothered, because this time next season they'll be elsewhere. And good riddance. Do you know what I mean? The people like Guion Edwards, I hope no one signs him for his fucking set pieces. There are some shit show players in that team who think that they're fucking Ronaldinho, and they're not even Ron from the fucking corner shop. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's embarrassing.
Wouldn't you think though, even amongst themselves, they'd be saying now, I want to be that guy who scores the goal. I want to be that guy. Everyone's laughing at us. I want to be that guy, and at least they'll say I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark, appreciate you as always.
Listen, lads, we'll talk
when do you open?
good.
Mark, when do you open again?
I think the 17th, maybe 17th of May. Hopefully, we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed for you, man. Take care. Look after yourself.
Go on.
Look after yourself. Look after yourself. Oh, I do love Mark. He brings some really good points to the table. We've got Colin coming up very shortly. We've got Paul Cook's comments coming up very shortly. My guy on the ground says he's scathing, apparently. So we'll see what we'll see. When I say at the ground, I mean it's Matt Phillips at home on WhatsApp, but it sounded better from my guy at the ground. Quick plug to our sponsors. Best Burger Stone Market have reopened. Talking of companies reopened. If you love a burger and you love a pint, Best Burger and Stone Market are the ones for you. And Mass Creations, 10% off if you quote Talking Town at the till. They do bespoke web packages and software. They've had a huge part, I believe, in some of the Terrace Life stuff that you will perhaps see, such as the mugs. So yeah, Mass Creations, Bury St Edmunds, they're based, and it's a town fan. So both run by town fans. Get behind these local businesses. The same way we get behind the football team. Colin, what did you make of this afternoon?
Good afternoon, Martin. How are you? All right?
Been better, having just sat through 90 minutes of absolute tripe. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Where do I start? Right, I'll start by like I normally start, and I never ever tell lies. I listened to it on the radio. I didn't watch it. Listened to the whole game. And like I said in previous shows, it's starting to get boring. This is starting to get boring, Jordan and Kurt. I mean, I listened to arguably, apart from maybe Bill Baxter and Andy Nelson, our greatest captain this club's ever had. And I'll tell you, I put on the chat at half time. I don't know how he stomachs what he's watching. quite honestly. I feel sorry for him. Probably I shouldn't feel sorry for him because he's been a great footballer. He's obviously made a very good living. He's probably got a great standard of life. But I actually feel sorry for him as a person watching this load of garbage. Because I tell you, like Jordan, and I can't remember the guy's name, the Irish guy. Mark quite rightly said, you know, about how they conduct, and Curtis, how they conduct themselves. Oh my God, I've said it a million times. I spoke to Rich during the week. If I'd have had the one chance, and trust me, I was a decentish footballer. If I'd have had the one chance to pull that shirt on, that would have meant the world to me. I'd have took that to my grave. Literally. I would have took that down into the hole with me. These guys, like Curtis or Jordan or whoever it was saying a little while ago about, you know, their ego. Where the hell... I don't normally get riled, and I don't want to get riled on here because you're such lovely people. But it's starting to get me riled. Where on earth, like you said a minute ago, Martin, do these bunch of so-called Ipswich Town Football Club professionals get an ego from? I don't understand. You know, I don't know. I'm not going to mention names. Probably one or two of them. I know what happens. Probably one or two of them. They'll go and walk down, you know, outside Isaac's tonight. Well, I'm so-and-so. I'm so-and-so. Why? Why would you be doing that outside Isaac's tonight? Because I'll tell you something for nothing. I live in Bury. But if I lived in Ipswich and I was in Isaac's tonight with my girlfriend or my wife, I'd certainly tell them, in no uncertain terms, stick your ego in the Orwell, because that's where it deserves to be. Because they're actually starting. No, they're actually making people riled now. They're not making people unhappy. They're making people riled. People like Jordan, like Curtis, like Martin, like myself, like Rich, like everybody. Right, I said to Rich the other day, and this is no exaggeration, with all the places and the planes and the trains and the petrol and everything, I could have probably, and there's no exaggeration, I could have probably bought another house of what I've spent on Ipswich Town Football Club in my lifetime. Now, do they appreciate me? This lot? I think the answer to that has got two letters, and the first one begins with N. I don't think they care about me. I don't think they care about anybody. And if that is the case, you're not very good people. And I don't care if they listen to this. You know, they've got to start to understand that people like us and 20-odd thousand other people have paid their wages for the last few years, and they want to start appreciating that, and they want to start pulling that shirt on with pride. I'm like Jordan. I'll tell you, I wouldn't play. You can't say all of them, I don't suppose. I wouldn't play 70% of this side for the rest of the season. I certainly wouldn't. That's it. That's job done now. It's job done for me. I'd play Liam Gibbs. I'd play, like you said. I've seen Ross Crane. It's God's honest truth. I've been down to Bury Town, so I only live 5 minutes from Bury. I've been there. I see Ross Crane play about 18 months ago down Bury, or 2 years ago. And believe you me, then, I can't remember how old he was then, about 17, I think, or something. Trust me, he was a man in a young boy's body then. My God, he's got a physique on him. Trust me, he had then. God, I haven't seen him for ages. God knows what he's like now. So why isn't he been given a go? Why is Liam not? Liam's not even getting on the bench. I know his mum. He's been ripping it up for the youths and ripping it up for the 18s, under 23s, and he don't get on the bench. And like Curtis quite rightly says, and Jordan and yourself, Martin, you know, we'll find a little space for Mr. Sears. Yes, however long, 7, 8 years ago, he's doing a decentish job. But 7 or 8 years on, I'm sorry, you should not be sitting on that bench, Mr. Sears. as you shouldn't be Luke Chambers, in my opinion. Now, all those players should be gone. Not actually gone from the club as such as yet, but they certainly shouldn't be sitting on that bench. And I'll tell you something else as well. I've got to let all this off my chest today. I know I used to let it off my chest on Radio Suffolk, as you know, but I love this even more because I feel like you're a bit of a family to me now. I love it. And I'll tell you, I'm not going to bring Alf into it because I was just after Alf. But Bill McGarry, Bobby Robson, Bobby Ferguson, John Lyle, John Duncan. John Duncan, John Duncan, George Burley, Joe Royal, all of those managers. I'm sorry if I missed a decent one out. Possibly Mick at the start. Do you know what? I apologise. I apologise to you all, and especially the ones who, God bless, they've gone. I apologise to you all for this bloody shambles. Because this football club at the moment, and I'll tell you what on earth these owners are thinking right now, I don't know. I just hope to God that they do what I think they're going to do, and just transform the whole club, because my God, from top to bottom, this club absolutely needs change, and CHANGE in capital letters, because my God, like I say, I go back and I can remember all the Norwich teams. I can remember Duncan Forbes. I can remember Dave Stringer. I can remember Tommy Bryson. I can remember all those players for Norwich when we were like giving them out, well, not hammers, but we was giving them decent defeats all the time and everything. And we used to laugh at them. We used to laugh, and of course we did. You know, oh, can't you ever beat us? You know, Beats never lost in 23 derby games. Didn't lose in 23 derby games. And we used to always, my generation always had it good, you know. When you saw a Norwich shirt, if you ever saw one, walking down the road, you just laughed at them, you know. They're not laughing at us. They're peeing themselves at us. And all those lads I've just been talking about, those players who are so-called footballers for our club, are embarrassing us. And they're embarrassing us big time. And perhaps they might be down the club tonight laughing their heads off. Oh, I don't really care about them. Right. Okay. But, you know, I've had it with them.
Curtis, when you listen to Colin there, who's seen it all, and you listen to it, and you can hear the hurt and the frustration and the anger as a young fan who obviously is coming on the back end of the successful times. What do you think of that? What do you hear when you hear that?
I mean, let's face it, that is from a real fan's perspective. I mean, we are all fans. There is a reason why, amidst the pandemic, there's a reason why we tune into the radio. There's a reason why we spend money on iFollow. There's a reason why people keep the season tickets to watch this club. It's because that we hope that on a Saturday and a Tuesday, or on a Thursday, Friday, whatever it is, we hope that our football club will give us some kind of good feeling. If we're having a shit time, we hope that it's going to give us some sort of good feeling that'll make us feel any better. It's one of them. I mean, Colin mentioned there how these players about their egos. Damn right, they shouldn't have any ego, because whoever's built them up to have this sort of ego really needs to be taken behind the back of a shed, because it's an embarrassment to the club that we have. I mean, I was one to say, when people say, "Oh, a club of this size shouldn't be in League One." No, you know what? We should be in League One, and I tell you what, a squad with playing quality of the way it is, we're very lucky to even be still within a mathematical chance of even be within the playoffs. It's an absolute embarrassment. And we talk about how Colin said there how it would have been the most meaningful thing in his life to pull on the shirt of our club, but as it would to you, Martin, as it would to Jordan, as it would to me. But again, that's from a fan's perspective. We would all bleed for the shirt because we have all, well, especially Colin, you've experienced the good times, and unfortunately for me, I've not experienced any real good times. So we all stand by the club. Whereas these players, they don't know what. I mean, they can come out at the end of the season and say, "Oh, they're hurting." They don't know what it's like to hurt as a fan. They don't know what it's like to hurt as a fan. I don't even care about Chambers at the moment because every single season he's been here, and I'm going to go on a little rant. Every single season he's been here, he gets wheeled out towards the end of the season when we've failed, and then he comes out and goes, "I'm hurting just like the rest of you. I bleed blue. I'm your captain." Who no, you don't. You are a captain of this club, and you will move on eventually, just like the rest of them have. And then you will move on with your life, and this will just become another memory in your life. Unfortunately for us, we stick with this club from the moment we go to our first match, or we watch the first match, or we get passed down from us. We stick with this club, so we know what hurting is. We know what hurting is. Luckily for footballers, they can move on to coaching, they can move on to another club, and they might experience the good times. But we will never move. We will always have to stand by this stuff. So, and as I say, this season, these players are very, very lucky that fans have not been in that ground. They are very, very lucky that fans have not been in that ground.
Yeah, they are. Jordan, it doesn't matter what interview you listen to with Berkay Bakay. I'm not going to ask you that, but what did you think when you heard Colin there, and then you've heard Berkay on Thursday, and you've seen what you've seen with your eyes on a Saturday? What are you hoping? What are you feeling? What are you thinking towards the future?
I think as much as we all think it's going to be roses and stuff like that, you never know, do you? You never actually know. And these blokes have been on social media in the last however long it is. It's positive from the start. We all hope for Premier League, don't we? We all dream of Premier League. When you buy your ticket on a Saturday, you dream that it's going to be 3 points on a Saturday. Wins make leagues, and leagues make promotions. But it's all very positive. For me, like I put on Twitter the other day, I don't ask for success as such. For me, it's just, I watched the video of Tony Mowbray and Marcus Stewart, and just players that will go out there on a Saturday afternoon and leave everything out there. I think for me tonight, the thing that bugs me is people like Stephen Ward be sitting at home having a bit of Chinese with his wife and won't be really asked, if I'm honest with you. He won't be asked whether we won, lost or draw today. Do you know what I mean? They don't particularly care, but I can quite imagine Tony Mowbray on a Saturday night went home and had a sleepless night if we lost. And that's what I want. I just want players that are going to give everything for us and put everything on the line, put their necks on the line, and will play through injury. We've had too many players at this club, like your Tom Addy Amy's and people like that, who really could have played. Let's be honest. Paul Hurst clearly said he could have played. And just have, that's all I ask for. It's just for fucking people to care, because not enough people care and give a shit. Yeah,
we've got Paul Cook's comments coming soon. I hear he's gone in on the players. Chris Boyd, we're not far off a Sunday League team that won a cup to play at Portman Road. Matt Stannard, in a couple of weeks there'll be a cup game, an on-league cup game at Portman Road, and that will be so much better. And I hope to cover it. But it'll be so much better than what we've seen recently. Matt Stannard, I sort of agree with Curtis. They should still be proud. I'm proud of what I've achieved in previous roles, but had to move on. It's the difference between passion and my job. Leighton Durham wouldn't be in the position fans were there. They've had an easy rise with what you say there, Curtis. Lee Anderson, agreed, Jordan. Ashton and Cook will turn the team around. Tony Baker, Berkay's a real football fan, and luckily for us, he understands what is happening to this club. I think he is very much on our side, and I feel like he'll back us to the hills and beyond. Yeah, I loved hearing the Galatasaray links and growing up being, because they're a real football club in Europe, and it brings a bit of knowledge. And I know in this country, we can look at foreign investment coming in, particularly from the States, and be wary of, do they get the game? Do they fully understand the game? But it seems like a really well-rounded team with clubs across Europe and the right business sense and the right football brains. And suddenly this club's gone from banter and basket case to football people in football jobs, Ashton, O'Leary. Then the people behind the scenes, the directors, who not only, of course, they want to make money. Everyone wants to make money. It's what makes the world go round. But they've got skin in the game. They've done it at football clubs and they've supported football clubs that have done things and won things. And when he's saying about a friendly with Galatasaray, because he wants to see that happen because it's his club, two clubs coming together, we've got to be at a better level than what we've just seen today for that to happen. Because Galatasaray will just go, what? I don't think so. That's exciting. That's got to be something that we cling on to as fans, particularly as we enter what will be a new era. Adam Flapp, first half is possibly, and I've got to have a good memory, the worst performance of one of my teams that I've ever seen in my whole managerial career. Apparently, it's what Paul Cook has said. You're beating Matt Phillips here for speed of type. It must be Paul Copeland. The only hope is that Burkay appears to be a real supporter, so understand our hurt. Stiggy, legend that is Stiggy. I tried playing with an ACL, was told it wasn't a good thing. Yeah, I played 90 minutes with a broken foot once. I don't recommend it, but I played, did it in the first minute. Went in hard on their striker. Thought I'd be a crunching centre half. Ended up breaking my own foot. Classic. Andy Gray. How proud are you, Gov, for creating something unbelievable special? Immense, mate. Forget Goldbridge's boy, 1.1 million subscribers. I'm better with my 2,000. Yeah. Get subscribed if you haven't already. We'll try and hunt Goldbridge down in the subscriber list. But I think Taunton Norwich City is probably our current rival. We've got to try and beat those at the moment. The good doctor, Zach Knight. Cook didn't enjoy the first half for sure. Happy the stadium was empty, so didn't have to see right in front of them. Simon Wall. Cool said Cook said they look like they want to be footballers. Well, they won't. They won't have to wait much longer. We were discussing young players as we wait some more quotes there, Colin. You know about young players. Do you feel it's the times now, next 3 games, you play the players that have got a contract for next year, and then you bring in some young players around that? So we looked at the list last time. I think we've got like 8 players that we can put in 1 to 11. That's 3 or 4 young players. Would you be in favour of Cook doing that next 3 games?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I'd be in real. I'd really love to see the really decent young players being given a go, and also some of the players who are on the edge of it kind of thing, who've not really got much of a look in. Yeah, I'd be very much in favour of that. But I'll tell you, I'd just like to say something what Jordan said earlier on about Tony Mowbray. I watched that video, like probably all Town fans have, and I must admit that video that brought a tear to my eye. He was totally committed to this club. He obviously had, really bad things going on in his life just prior to coming down. Then met a lady from Ipswich, as we all know about. Got married to her, and the rest is history, kind of thing. But he's still got a real big love of this club. You can hear that just by when he speaks, and yeah, I mean, fantastic, players like that. And to be perfectly honest with all of you, I don't know what other people's opinions are. I mean, there's talk about John McGreal. I wouldn't be, from a personal point of view, I wouldn't be anti getting John McGreal in, because I think, like Tony, I think he absolutely loved his time at Town. He was a very, very good player, very, very good defender, and like I said to Rich the other day, I think he would do marvellous things. I would presume up at the training ground with the defenders. Not that the defenders are doing too bad, to be fair. I mean, we've had a lot of clean sheets. We don't score no goals, which obviously, if you keep clean sheets, like I say, if you keep clean sheets, you don't lose games, which is an absolute fact. But if you don't score goals, you draw most of them. But I've got a quote from Paul Cook, I wouldn't be anti John McGreal coming in, to be honest.
I've got a quote from Paul Cook here before I bring Practical Alamy in, who I think is on the side all afternoon, so it could be fun. But he said this, apparently: be a kid who loves football. You look at some of ours, and it's like they don't like being footballers. Well, they won't have to wait much longer for that to happen. What do you make of that?
Sorry, Martin, I didn't catch that.
No problem. Kurt, did you catch it?
I caught it, yeah.
What did you make of that?
So, listen, these players, he's been saying for weeks how they're not good enough. He said he doesn't trust them. He says they don't trust him. He doesn't trust them. You know what? I am praying that these next 3 games go as quick as possible, because I do want to see a cull of this squad. I don't want to see any stone unturned. I think he is right. I think there's a lot of these players, possibly some of the younger ones as well, who aren't bothered about playing football, especially for this club at the moment. I think some of it possibly has come from being told a few home truths since Cook's come in, and possibly some of the what they would probably class as negative interviews after the match. I mean, he says he doesn't throw them under the bus, but then he proceeds to do the exact same thing following the week. It's one of them. These players, I'd say it'd give them a kick up the arse, but I mean, they've been told this now week after week after week, so I don't think it will. But no, you know what? If what he's saying there is right, and there are pretty damning comments there. If what he's saying there is he's going to get rid of a fair amount of them, I'm all for it. It may be difficult to almost start from scratch, but you know what? It is what this club needs. I am sick of having Deadwood within the squad. If you don't want to play for my club, don't play for my club. No one's going to force you. And if you don't want to be here, I mean, I can't imagine the contracts will be that big to pay up. They're not amazing players, so they won't be on amazing wages. And some club will take them. Some club will take it. I do whatever we can to get rid of whatever negativity there is in that dressing room, because it isn't needed. It really isn't needed.
Jordan, first half, the worst performance of a team in my managerial career. Couldn't do basic stuff well. Not far off a Sunday league team, and I'm thankful the stadium is empty. Dobbs came on and gave us a lift. He wants to play football. The team doesn't epitomise what I like about football. I can't stand watching us play. Said, sad that the best we can offer is not a lot. Do you like watching us play, Jordan?
What do you reckon? It's terrible, isn't it?
It's fucking
woeful.
He's got
the voice, isn't he? He's got the voice, and he's just saying what we're all thinking. And Stella Lambert coming out saying, yeah, absolutely brilliant. Do you know what I mean? He's saying what people think, and the players clearly don't like it. I think the ego's coming from the agents. That's where it's coming from. They're blowing smoke up the players' arse, so they think that they're fucking quality, so they can get them a move, etc., etc. He's just saying what we're all thinking, isn't he? There's no two ways about it. The difference being was when Paul Hurst tried it, they were all under contract. But I think he's very much, well, you don't like the criticism. There's a door, mate. Do you know what I mean? I think after them comments, when he says they won't have to wait much longer, I mean, surely you can't be starting a similar 11 next week with comment like that, can you? Surely.
No. Well, this is it. Colin, I love you. Appreciate you. I've got last 10 minutes. I'm going to bring Amy in. Look after yourself, my man. Amy, what are your lovely shirt, by the way?
Saved it for you.
What do you make of what you've heard this afternoon and what the team dished up?
So I was planning on watching it because for the first time in ages, I've got a Saturday afternoon where I had no plans. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to get myself some cider, and I'm going to sit and watch the game. And I've had to deal with my 18-month-old who's not been very well. So I ended up having to go to the pharmacy. He's fine. But I got back from the pharmacy and I was like, it was about 3:20, and I checked on Twitter and it was already everybody just saying, ugh, it's going the same way as every other game. And I thought, you know what? I've got the opportunity to spend the afternoon with my family here and just sit and enjoy myself. So I'm sorry, maybe it makes me a bad fan, but I just didn't. And my feeling is that that's the way it will go for the rest of the season. I have no interest in watching any games. I have no more interest than the players clearly have in playing in those games. I'm just done with it. I wish they'd end the season now. And Cook's comments are just sort of almost clarify what I've done. Do you know what I mean? They just it makes it justifiable that I haven't bothered watching the game today, because he obviously thinks they're just as dire as we do. But the reason I wanted to come on was just I'm a little bit disappointed in him for carrying on playing with these players that he is so disappointed in. I'm also getting a bit tired of the back and forth, because he was demolition man last week. Yep. Then midweek he was going back on his comments saying, oh, I was a bit harsh, which I suspect was him thinking, oh God, actually some of them we're going to have to keep next year because we can't afford to get rid of all of them. and now he's back to. It's like knee-jerk reaction, isn't it? The pre-match games is, oh yeah, maybe I was a bit mean, and then the post-match games is like a lot of our fans, I think, knee-jerk reaction of how awful it was, rightly so. And for me, I'm disappointed in him that he hasn't started playing the youngsters. There's not many games left now. This is a chance for them to get some game time, get their, throw their name in the hat for a choice for next season, give them a chance to try. So that they can hit the ground running. They can, they can up their game over the summer. They can keep themselves fit. They can get themselves ready so that whoever we bring in over the summer, they've got a shout. They've had their chance to prove that actually I deserve to be in this team too. Just like he said yesterday about players, if he wants the youth players to earn their place in the team before he'll put them in there, then he needs to give them a chance to earn their place. And let's be honest, none of those players that are in that team today have earned their chance. So I don't understand why they have a right to be in there over the youngsters.
Yeah. And I think as we've been saying since we started the full-time show, really. You heard Colin's thoughts there. You're a fan that's seen some success and seen, as you just seen today, some short times. What did you make of Colin's really sort of passion, hurt, frustrated comments there?
I think that was it, when he was talking about the previous managers and things. And I know that I think, Curtis, you said earlier about we're not a big club anymore. I know we think we are, but we just aren't. And the players, we are a League One team. When you look at those players, this is us now. We are League One. And I look at people like my dad, who've been going for nigh on 50 years, who've been through the most amazing times. Like my experience of being the playoff win is nothing compared to what my dad following us around Europe back in the 80s. It's incredible for them to now be going through this heartache that we are. But it just all feels a bit like, I don't know, the pain and the worry at the moment is a bit pointless. So because hopefully it will all be gone in 3 months' time. We'll be getting ready for the start of August. We'll be getting ready for the new season, and we'll have signed some amazing players, and we'll have got rid of the Deadwood, hopefully, and we'll be on the way up. So it just feels like at the moment, maybe I'm looking at it as more of a PR thing. I don't know, but surely it would just be nice to have. We had this wonderful buzz of the new owners, which was so exciting, and then I've got to the point again where I just can't be bothered. I just can't. I'm listening into this because I wanted to see what you guys were saying, but I'd rather see what you think of the game than watch the game itself, because I've got better things to do in my life at the moment.
That's what it's turned into. Yeah, and I think you're right, and I think the owners will want, as things on the field slow down, things off the field may quicken up, season tickets, refunds, etc., just because you need to keep that momentum, that enthusiasm, that energy up, and not let it peter out. Where we're kind of coming from today, I think the three of us here, we want to see some young players, a different variety, different players, because it just keeps you intrigued. And the more you're intrigued in football, the less you've got to worry about gardening or shopping or walking with the wife or anything. I'll stop there. Anything that you don't enjoy. Some people might enjoy spending time like that. I don't know. Amy certainly did today, that's for sure. Laying down, Amy, especially a pissed one. How many sides have you had today, Amy?
I haven't, because I've been dealing with my children and then tidying my house. But I have. There is a 7-year-old long waiting for me. Actually, once I get off this call and I've finished tidying the living room, because my life is that thrilling. That's what I've had to do today. I've been on the phone to NHS and I've been tidying the house, and I would rather do that than sit through 90 minutes of Ipswich Town today.
Absolutely. Right. Okay. Well, Amy, we love you. We appreciate it. Look after yourself, and hopefully your family stay well. Stay safe. Jordan, Curtis, man of the match today, please, as we close today's show. I know it's an absolute horror, but not man of the match. Wrong word. Out of the shower of shite that we saw on the Bristol stall chart, which one wasn't the worst?
I won't be a second. Give me a second.
It's that cat. It's like a knock. Bloody hell. It's a clever cat, that, Jordan.
Do you know what? I can't even give you a name of a player. I genuinely can't.
Cornell.
I'm not going to give you Cornell because I think they're both shit, the keepers. I'm going to go with Kane Vincent-Young because he's completed another 90 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
As good as it's going to get from me today, I think, because it's just a shower of shit in it.
Truly. Yeah, it has been. That's a very good comment, actually. Came Vincent Young, another 90 minutes is a positive. Cornell looked better than Holy in 90. Let's see him again next week and see what we get consistency-wise. Jordan, who wasn't the worst player in the blue shirt for you today?
What, me?
Curtis, sorry. Sorry. I was looking at Curtis, but thinking of Jordan. Isn't that always the way?
Best player, Cornell, just because he did the basics today that he needed to do. That's what I'd say. Yeah, he did the basics. It wasn't anything spectacular, but he stopped us conceding from a piss poor penalty. So, yeah, I'd have to give it him for that.
Absolutely. Right, we're back tomorrow 1:30 for the Talking Town podcast. We'll review Burke's interview, really drill down into some comments from there and what we can take from it. We'll look at this game today. We'll get some fan opinion. We'll look at Colin's speech. I'm sure I'll clip that up because that was absolutely fantastic and something that every fan needs to listen to. But Curtis, Jordan, enjoy your Saturday evening. Have we got any particular plans? Takeaway, nice meal, bit of alcohol? What are we doing?
Think of a Chinese tonight for me.
Ooh, what do you get from a Chinese when you go for the Chinese?
See, it's noodles without the veg. I'm not one for the veg in the noodles, and then salt and pepper chicken.
Ooh, tasty. Nice little bit of cider, beer, wine with that.
Rum and coke.
Very nice. Jordan, what's your plans this evening? Anything special?
Few ciders and a bucket of chicken from KFC, mate.
Oh,
absolute dream.
Bargain bucket. What a dream. And just like our team, bargain bucket.